Sessions here at the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Paul. I'll be your host tonight. Our Wednesday nights, I've decided that I'm going to say hello, church family. One of our dear practitioners, Richard Robinson, always said that on Sundays when he delivered the meditation with this beautiful Pachelbel canon background music, and has delivered some beautiful meditation periods in the sanctuary. And he would always say, "Good morning, church family." So on Wednesday nights, I'm going to start saying that at 7 o'clock. Welcome. So what is our Wednesday night here at the Oakland Center? Well, it's our midweek pickup between Sundays. It's a chance for us to re-engage with one another and have a service that Reverend Jeff likes to call it informal, intimate, and rich. Now, our styles vary on their delivery based on the speaker, but the predominant style that we've been doing mostly is a satsang style where we have a special guest speak for about 20 minutes, and then they open it up for a discussion. We have a wonderful speaker tonight. But before I get that far along in the program, I want to remind you what our annual theme. It's coming down to an end. I'm going to pull out my trusty digital paper calendar and count the Wednesdays. We have 2 more Wednesdays in this year. So we're coming to the end of our theme of 2020 spiritual vision. And our theme this month is so appropriate. We've had such a rich Sunday and Wednesday services around celebrating divine truth. Celebrating divine truth. That is so true for this holiday season and with everything that's going on. I see some new people are joining us tonight. I'll have some information how you can stay connected with us when we get into the announcements. And I'm going to ask everybody that's not in the service that they make sure that they're muted on their camera and their microphone, because that will improve the quality of the transmission. Oh, we have a wonderful speaker tonight. Her name is Teresa Gardiner, and she's a practitioner and a ministerial student, and she's been a practitioner for 2 years now. She's a member of our Practitioner Leadership Corps. She's also in her 2nd year of ministerial school. She's also a member of the COVID logistics and compliance team here in Oakland Center. That's a very important team. I'll just divert a little bit, Teresa, on this. We start and we go. We start and go. 1 minute we're green and 1 minute we're red. The next minute we're purple, and the next minute we're meeting in small groups.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just been crazy. But there was policy and procedures that had to be implemented during this period if we were going to meet in person. And Teresa was a founder with Larry on our board of directors, and did a tremendous job pulling a policy. And Teresa, I really want to honor you for doing that with Larry. It really put things in order for the time when we do start meeting back together again. And Teresa was also a former OCSL board member. So Teresa has a rich history with us here in Oakland. Before I turn it over to her to speak, she's asked someone very special to do the opening prayer as part of her service tonight. And that's our own practitioner, Elena Hutchinson. So Elena, I'm going to turn it over to you. And then Teresa, after the prayer, you can come in and start doing your thing. Thank you all. Elena, you'll need to unmute yourself. There we go.
I was just saying, good evening, church family.
Yes.
So we're going to settle now into our chairs or wherever we find ourselves. And let each breath be a little bit slower and deeper than the past one as we sort of settle into prayer. There is only one presence, one power, one thing, one consciousness that reaches into itself and brings worlds into being, that holds the planets in their orbits. that is the life force of every living creature. It is our very breath. And I am that. I am one place in time and space where that great, unfathomable vastness finds one physical form where it can express itself with all of its power and intelligence and joy and creativity and love. And as I know this for myself, I know it for each person here, that they are that intelligence and divine order and love of spirit, that unstoppable creative force, that their mind is the mind of God. Their heart, the heartbeat within them, is that great silent beating heart at the center of all life. That when they speak their word, it is the word of God, because it is the power of God flowing in, through, and as them, as they bring their own worlds into being. That we are each of us in a sacred co-creative dance with spirit in every moment. I bless this gathering. I bless this coming together and what we are creating tonight. I bless Teresa as she brings us the word of God, as she lets that inspiration, that guidance flow through her, as it finds a resting spot in our hearts where that intelligence and wisdom of God can find a place to light a spark. I bless our tech wizards, every person who is participating or listening now or later. I bless Reverend Jeff as he engages in his healing journey in a new way during the next few months. And the ministers and practitioners as they hold this community in our time of transition, as they help to create that new community that we will be for the next few months. And every member, every person who participates, whoever lends their energy to this community. As I speak my word for our community, I know that as we navigate the unknowns before us, the pandemic, the new leadership in our country, our own transition at OCSL, each of our personal transitions, as each of us steps forward to do what is ours to do at this time, as we align with the truth of who and whose we are, Spirit meets us. It pours itself into us, all of its love and joy and wisdom and divine order and creative force. Spirit calls us to the highest and best that it has in mind for us, all the while holding us with great love, sweetly and tenderly. And I am so grateful to know this truth of our being. I speak my word into the law, knowing that we don't need to know the hows. At the moment we speak our word, the law can only comport with our intention. It can only begin to arrange all the different little parts to bring those intentions into manifestation, to bring into being those worlds that we are creating. I release my word into the law. I let go. I let God. And so it is.
Beautiful. Thank you, Helena.
Yeah.
Thank you for setting this beautiful tone this evening. Hello, everybody. It's really great to see your faces. Love to see you. Turn on your cameras for a moment just so I can see you. This is my maiden voyage here, and I just want to see your smiling faces. Hi. Hello. Oh, good. Hi, Judith. Wonderful. I see Deborah's here. Larry's on his pad. Hi, Larry. And Kenneth. Oh, Margot, wonderful. Good to see you all tonight. How great is this? Well, so I'm really excited to be here. Elena sent me a message saying, "Oh, it's not nervousness; it is excitement," and it indeed is excitement. Um, I wouldn't have thought if you could have asked anybody in my youth that I would be headed to ministerial school. They probably would have laughed at you. It's yeah, I was a wild child and a wild adult leading up to now, leading up to Science of Mind, and I think in many ways Science of Mind has really saved my life. So it's really, really good to be here. So I came here in 2013, and many of you were here in 2013 and before that, I'm sure. And and I'm back. So it's good to see you. So the meditation quote that we contemplated, if you were there for meditation, the quote was, "Prepare your mind to receive the best that life has to offer." And I don't know. Were you here for Reverend Savannah's talk on Sunday? Oh my God, it was so wonderful. She's our youngest minister, as probably most of you know, and she's really quite something. And I loved her analogy for our theme, preparing the way, where she talked about setting the table and preparing our feast, and her asking what's on our plate. I I'm gonna watch it again, and if you missed it, you can go on our website and see the talk there. It should be up, I think, today, maybe tomorrow. Uh, so um, so I love to ponder what's on our plate and preparing our mind to receive the best that life has to offer. And I started preparing for the talk. You know, like I said, it's really my first talk. I gave another short talk before, um, but I I started. I have a lot of passion for my ministry and for our teaching, and I just finished up my term in ministerial school. And the last class, we talked about the creative process. And when I think about preparing the way, I think, yes, we're preparing the way. And how does the creative process work once we are preparing the way? And many of you know that the creative process is our teaching symbol. And I'm sure many of you know that, but so I'm going to talk about the creative process tonight because it's so rich, and there's beyond this evening. There's so much that can be taught and realized and revealed from the creative process. And I was going to take a breath. Okay, so when we the way it works, which really just thrills me, and it might be your passion as well. How does this thing work? Uh, so I'm going to just talk about the different steps of the creative process. So we sit, first of all, it's the creative process in the individual, which is the same as spirit, but we're going to talk about the individual really here, okay? And so we sit in meditation, or we sit in contemplation in our spiritual practice. And what we do is we we invite and welcome spirit, the personalness, the love of spirit. We're open and receptive to spirit, and we're receptive to spirit's love just pouring in, just pouring in as we open and receive the inspiration, the awe of spirit. And it just warms our heart and fills us with that inspiration. Now, when we sit in that inspiration, let me get a drink of water here. Mm, mm. See, we have free will. So it does require us to consciously open to Spirit's guidance. So we open from a place of being one with Spirit. Spirit is within us, and we are opening and receiving that guidance and kind of moving out of the way and remembering that we live within Spirit. We live within God. It is flowing in and around and through us, and we're accustomed to that. What was new for me, really on a deeper level, is that there is a personal relationship with Spirit, and I've been developing that, and I think it's a very important part of the creative process. So when we open and receive, Spirit gives us that insight. We receive that insight, that inspiration, that intuition, that guidance comes in, and we receive it into our thoughts. That presses into our being, and we create a form, a mental equivalent, which is a vessel, a form, a mold, and we create that mental equivalent of what that inspiration means to our unique being, each one being different. So it means something different to me than it does Peter or Zoe. It means something different to each one of us. So we open and receive this and create a mental equivalent. And then we pray, we speak our word, we pray, we move, we have our action based on this guidance. Now, some people, so we're speaking our word, and right here you could say, well, how do I know this isn't, my small personality, not Spirit's guidance? How do I know the difference between my intuition, or is it Spirit speaking, right? Speaking through me and me being receptive. So my instructor, Dr. Tom Sanner, says, how we know it's the word of Spirit. I love this. Oh my God. So how we know it is from our divine individuality, that it is always based upon the idea of possessing the small personality wants to have. I want to have this, I want to have that. But the word of Spirit is based on the idea of becoming. I want to be the consciousness of love, to be the consciousness of abundance. It doesn't outline it. So that's one way, that is the way to know the difference. Well, there's other ways too, right? So, this is, it's, of course, it's been a strange time with COVID and political unrest and everything going on. And so earlier in the year, I was feeling pretty lost, and I was really setting up a home in fear, and I couldn't find my way back. But I knew that if I talked to a practitioner, talked to my prayer partner, which I did both. I mean, I was reaching out. I was on the ropes, and kind of embarrassed about it. It's like, oh my gosh, I should know better by now, right? That's where I was. And so I called them, and I really got a bigger picture about what we are doing when we are speaking our word, not only in treatment, but in our actions, in our thoughts and deeds. Because we know that there's one mind. There's one of us here. There's one mind. So whatever is going on here is going into this one mind, is part of this one mind. So my prayer partner helped me recognize this. It's like, what am I adding into that one mind? And so, man, because I want to be of service. And since I was a little kid, I wanted a world that worked for everyone. And that's the vision of the Centers for Spiritual Living, a world that works for everyone. So if I am sitting in, in grounded in fear, I am adding that chaos, that fear into the one mind. And that helped me pull back out of that place and remember who I am, remember whose I am. And so I want to, it really makes a big difference. We talk about serving, and yes, we serve, we feed people, and we do our seva. But right where you are, right where we are, our consciousness makes a difference. Yeah, it's about rising up. It doesn't mean to not feel our feelings when we're sad or in grief, but what are we adding to the one mind? And for me, I really want to add more love. So it keeps pulling me back to what really matters here, what's really true. And I celebrate this divine truth. We are one. So, we each play a part in that whole. And we, like I said earlier, we're all unique expressions and we have a specialization. Oh, and we talked about this in class. It was so rich, so good. If you get a chance to get a calling to be a minister, do the education, Holmes Institute is just spectacular. I just want to say that. And our practitioners, Lucian and Elena, are both in the program now, and we're just really blessed to have them join the ministerial training. So I'm going to go back here. Each one specializes in their own way. That's why it's, be yourself, be who you are, because we are created to be this unique expression. So, as we speak our word and it manifests and it goes into the law and gets manifested, it goes, I can say up, but it's really a spiral. It goes up into the one mind, and things are shifted. Each one of us is here for a reason, and it shifts and grows and unfolds according to our unfoldment and what we speak into the law, or with our actions, with our deeds, with our intentions. So we're part of this evolutionary process. We're not alone here. We matter. Our voice matters. That's why our vote matters. All that matters. We're all in this together, in this beautiful unfoldment of life, of the evolution and the rising up. And I find this really, really exciting. So to get back to the class I was in, oh my goodness, Dr. Tom Sanner, who's one of the beloved instructors at the Institute, says science of mind is a teaching of freedom that has been given to humanity. It provides a clear spiritual map, which if followed diligently, leads to personal and planetary liberation. As a spiritual practice, Science of Mind uses the primary tool of spiritual mind treatment. Now, our spiritual mind treatment is our affirmative prayer, and we are continually, ceaselessly praying with our intentions. So it's a conscious choice. Like I said, it brought me back to it kind of helps me. It's just not for me that I make a conscious choice to return. I'm doing it for everyone Now, there's nothing missing here. There's nothing wrong. But when we can pull ourselves back, you know, it's we pull ourselves back and remember that God is life affirming. God is good. We're really here all walking each other home. And it is that good back of all things. But we have free will and we have choice. And that's what the creative process is about. So now, I had to ask myself if I was aligned with my beliefs. Am I consciously on board for a world that works for everyone? I recently saw a talk by Reverend Jim Lockhart, and he asked that question that really, as a village, as a center, are we on board for a world that works for everyone? So I can say yes. And I'm sure each one of you here can say yes. So, what does that mean? Again, it's a calling back right here. It's a world that works for everyone. I say yes. I bring peace. I bring love. And I turn away from the conditions. Oh, I didn't really realize, even though have been with Science of Mind, well, it's been 7 years, I didn't realize what free will and what choice really meant. And it is the heart of Science of Mind. We make a conscious choice. It's a conscious choice to turn away from those conditions, to speak our word and receive that guidance, and open and receive and have a personal relationship with God. That's a big deal for me. I wasn't raised with spirituality, with religion. So when I took this course, I went personal relationship. Um, I didn't even really realize that there was one, but it's now I understand when I sit in contemplation in my morning practice and I deliberately open up, and invite spirit. It's like turning on the water. It's like night and day. And so I can go about my day and say, oh, right, I'm not alone here. I'm not doing this on my own. I can take a breath, I can pause, and I can say, oh, yeah, we're in this place together, right here, right now. Spirit is here, guiding, and the guidance comes in, and the love pours in me. And it's a whole different feeling. Um, I was used to doing this. I don't know if you recognize this. I'm sure everybody has been there. Um, but you're working something and you're working it and you're working it, and it's I've kind of struggled and pushed my way through it, and I go, oh, wait a minute, it's not just me here, it's spirit, and it's about ease and grace, and I open and welcome God's grace in right here, and let that love pour over me now. So, it's not something to worry about. Like it's a bad thing that we don't turn away from the conditions, because in the end, we all get emancipated. We're all just walking each other home. That's the way it really is. But we can also enjoy each other and rise up and lift each other up just by our own consciousness. That's what we do. And that's what we do here in Science of Mind. And I'm more clear of that than ever before, that Science of Mind is, like I said, it saved my life. And I'm sure each one of you have an example of how it's changed your life too. So I want to open this up. I'm still, like I'm shaking inside, right? I want to open this up for a dialogue. I want to open it up and talk about what we're preparing for, how we're preparing for the greatest yet to be. How do we envision the creative process in our personal relationship with spirit? So those are some big topics. So I want to come together here. You can turn on your camera, and Paul will call on you, and we can have a dialogue, because each one of us, the wisdom comes pouring through us. It's right here and available at each one of us, and we're pretty much old timers here. We know that, but we can let that wisdom come out this evening. So
If you'd like to share at this time, we ask that you turn on your camera and raise your hand like this, or use the participant button to raise your hand, that participant thing. And actually, Peggy will guide the conversation so Teresa can hear and understand. Okay, so who would like to go first? I'll let Peggy identify that.
I'll go.
Elena, okay.
There's something you said at the beginning that I loved, because the way you worded it, it was sort of like, there is divine guidance out there, and it comes down, but it enters into us according to our own unique manifestation. It sort of reminds me that it's really, if we're trying to create, if we're trying to, manifest something, it's like, or even just have a nice life, it works if we start just aligning ourselves with that, right? And the image that came up was when I went to school in Austin for 3 years, and we used to do these, river floats. And this is not rocks and bouncing around. This is like you're on a float, just going down the river for the afternoon, trailing your hand through the water. So like, that's what it feels like when you just get in alignment. Yeah. I was talking to TC today about, what do we want next year to look like? What are we creating? And I thought, I'm really just trying to stay in that place of like getting the guidance. What's my next step? Because that's what to me, it feels like that's what it means to align in the way you're talking about.
mm-hmm.
Not trying to figure out all the details, but just what's the next thing. Yeah, and letting that come through, as because then you're like, there is a matrix out there and you're just slipping into it. Yeah.
And what about, Elena, about how to tell the difference between our own mind, little small talk, and spirit, what having something or being something? I thought that that distinguishes a lot for me, helps me understand.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's not a thought you would have had. It just, you're like, what? Oh, okay. I was telling TC a funny story today. Years ago, I just started visioning my life now, and I did one visioning session, and I sort of got out of it and went, well, shoot, I got nothing out of that. And the very next thought was, I need to take that improv class I've been meaning to take for a while, which I went in to register, and the email that popped up before I could register with this class was that OCSL was offering an improv class. And that led to hosting, and that led to me overcoming my fear of being visible in the world, which is handy if you want to go to ministerial school, which I told my mother at 17 I wanted to do.
Wow.
So it's just, it kind of sometimes doesn't seem like it's working, or it comes out of nowhere, and it's just kind of being in that place of saying yes. Like, okay, if that's what spirit wants, if that's like the next step, even if I don't know exactly where it's leading, I'm just going to try that.
Boy, that's divine timing too. And it has its own timing. You heard it at 17, and here you are, Wow.
I did a few other things in the meantime, but
Oh, that's great. That's a good story. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Judith Roberts?
Okay, Teresa, I want to be sure I'm framing this in accordance with your question. Can you repeat the question?
Well, I just want to know, what are you preparing for? And Judith, do you have a personal relationship with spirit? I
Do
mean, do
I?
you open,
Yes.
do you have a practice where you open? I'm sure you do, you know. Do you have a personal experience that personal relationship with spirit and spirit's love? What's that like?
Well, that's a different question than what I was going to speak to, because I thought it was about creating. But
It
um,
is. It's that
um, I was going to go in a little bit of a different direction, but what it's like is my relationship with spirit is it's quite mystical, actually. It surprises me a lot. I find that I can't define it very well, and things happen all the time that I don't anticipate. And so a lot of it has to do with just being open, being an open vessel, being an open space, like you were talking about earlier, sitting in meditation and allowing, allowing insight, allowing intuition, allowing messages, allowing feeling, the feeling of oneness that comes sometimes.
Yes.
And allowing guidance that comes in ways that I don't expect, and it often comes through nature. It often comes from nature. But yeah, there's a feeling when I know I'm on my path and I'm in alignment. There's a feeling about it, and there's a flow. There's a flow to it.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. What do you want to say about creative process?
Well, I think you were talking about, individually, but I was thinking, like, what do we want to create? But I was going to the world. I was going to the world, the global scale. I mean, it's all one, right? Macrocosm and microcosm. And I was just remembering a conversation I had recently with a friend who was talking about the political situation, and he was really very positional about, and not wanting to he was very positional and judgmental about people who didn't hold his belief and his position. And I said, well, in Congress, do you want to see people crossing the aisle, and working together, because they're so divided? And he said, oh yes. And then I said, well, remember what Gandhi said: be the change you want to see in the world.
Yes. Yes.
And he resisted that. He said, well, I'm not a legislator, but I feel very strongly that, and this is where the creation part comes in, to be the change I want to see in the world, and do it on, even if it's just little levels. If it's a little level of creating beauty, or creating order, or extending kindness, on any level, whether it's a big level or a small level, doesn't really matter. I mean,
Right.
it's all personal choice, and sometimes it's one and sometimes it's another. But being the change I want to see in the world, I think, is where I went to when you talked about creating.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Nice. Nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think Julia wanted to say something. Julia, did you have something?
I saw your hand, Julia. Did you want to share something with us?
Sure, I forgot what I was going to say by now, but thinking about I do have a personal relationship with spirit, and For me, that's changed from the time I was very small. I was taught that God was outside of me, and now my personal relationship is with that inner spirit within me. And I think it's fortunate for me that, in a way, that I live alone. But alone has never made sense to me because I don't feel alone. I feel that spirit is with me always. And so when I'm moving forward, like wanting to co create something, I pay attention to how I'm feeling inside as to whether it's the little me that's wanting something or the divine wanting to express through me as my life. And that's the compass, is the way I'm feeling about it.
Mhm.
And especially if I start to feel like I'm struggling, or feel like I'm trying to make something happen, I know right away that that's the little me because I don't need to make something happen. And the way that I cultivate that relationship with the divine is through contemplation, and for listening listening for what is it that spirit wants to bring through me as my life. And once I get the message, it's like, oh, I am there, right? I am just like, it's not my job to figure out all the details or wonder how it's going to happen, because I have no idea, right? But it's my job to say yes, and I do say yes, and just move forward in faith. And at this time on the planet, I feel like it's been a blessing that this thing called the pandemic has caused a lot. Like for me, I don't go as many places, right? And it's harder for me to plan because I don't know what things are going to be like. But I never know what things are going to be like. But for me, the blessing has been that I'm really living more one day at a time, and um,
Mhm.
and just doing the next right thing. It's like I'm being forced to live that way. It's what it feels like, but it's such a great practice, and so I'm appreciating that. Thank you.
Yes. 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 Yeah, it is a letting go because it keeps shifting and changing out there, you know. So it keeps bringing us back in to the changeless. Yes. Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good.
Dr. Judith, did you want to share something? You
The
got to
mute.
unmute, honey. There you go.
Yes. Thank you. For several months now, I have been in my meditation or contemplation, I am asking the question of where is my place? Where is my part of the garden? Taking into account that I'm, the age that I'm in, and in the moment, I have to be pretty much staying away from all things on a physical plane. But I know there's an answer, and I don't want to make up an answer. And so I pray and meditate, and I'm waiting for a feeling tone or something about what is it, what am I to do in order to be? What am I to do at this time of my life and in this world as it is in order to be more of who I am opening to? So the answer has not yet come, but I'm encouraging it by something. I wouldn't normally say this, but I'm watching a lot of KQED documentaries about various things that are going on in the world. And it hurts. It's just, it actually brings a lot of pain to be watching all this. But I don't want to forget, and I don't want to start getting my worldview getting more narrow as I am getting older. I want it to stay wide, and I want to know what's going on with people so that at least in my heart, I am really creating a world that works for everyone. Yeah. But that's how I'm getting more ready, though. I'm not sure what I'm getting ready for. I can't say that, but I feel that I am readying myself.
Nice. Nice. That's great. Wonderful. Who else? Who else?
Paul?
Oops, camera's on. I'm finding the word revelation interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's a revealing, Teresa, is what basically is you are opening up yourself when you were describing the creative process. And the root of the creative process was preparing yourself to receive.
Mm-hmm.
That's so important. But to receive what? And it reveals itself when we open ourselves up to receive. We get a revelation. And you said another word that was, you didn't say that word, revelation, but you said evolution. That comes next after the revelation. We evolve to a new level of understanding or awareness. And I just find that all profoundly soothing and interesting. And even though the conditions around us may look bleak or sad or difficult, or we are not in alignment with the activity that we see going out there, because in our heart, even this, and we believe in moving in this direction of goodness and faith, through faith, and we lean towards the good. I think that's our general DNA, and sometimes we forget that. So when we rest in the moment to open ourselves up to just to receive whatever the inspiration and love that you spoke about, then something is revealed to us. And I feel that's an important, for me, an important step is that I recognize, oh, something's being revealed to me so that I can evolve one step further. And it could, that evolution, I'm totally in agreement with you, is not, it's spiral as opposed to up or down.
Right.
You know, it's a omnipresent, not round, but not, you know what I mean? It's just a huge shift.
I love that, Paul. And I love that you brought it back to evolution, because I love that each one of us in our unique expression add to that evolution. We all do our thing and it all goes and into this evolution, and we're all needed to be who we really are designed to be, that unique expression, to go into that evolutionary, as we shift and unfold, and that we matter, that each one of us matters. That's what really really sticks out for me, is that we each one matter.
That thought and that word really, and if we use the word matter, let's talk of Ernest's matter, into form, right? We're talking into form or into the mold. That's matter, M-A-T-T-E-R, E equals MC2, Einstein and all that stuff. But it's matter, and it matters. It has form and substance.
Yes.
And Elena just chatted in, first the revelation, then the evolution, then the revolution.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's good.
Right?
The rise up, yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Or rise across.
Right.
I mean, there's so much in this simple creative process that you brought up. But the first step is availing yourself to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. Opening, asking, receiving. Yes. Being receptive. Nice.
Because the option is getting hit by a bus or of God or spiritual 2x4. You know, it's really, I'm going to give it to you whether you want it or not, the universe says, right?
Yes.
So the
I
option,
also love that we're all walking each other home, no matter what anyway, you know?
yeah.
But we do want to add more love into the world and more peace and life. We're meant to be life affirming. So.
I think that's how we're wired as humans.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I really think deep down below it all, beneath everything, and that flame that we're going to be we celebrate during this period, Dr. Judith, for the Hanukkah and for our Christmas candle lighting, and through all of the many um, um, faiths around the world, there's one predominant understanding, is that the light shows us the way, leads us out of the darkness.
Yes.
We're going to be talking about that a lot at the Christmas candle lighting thing, but I think that's the spirit of this season, right? And it all starts with that one flame, that moment when we get lit, you know, lit up. Yeah. Sometimes it helps with a little shot of brandy to get lit, but you know, in the long run, Teresa, I think you brought to us tonight the concept of, wait, before the revolution and before the evolution, it's got to be a revelation, and that revelation comes with the minute that we just sit still and open ourselves up to receive.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Uh-huh. That's good.
And that's how we prepare the way.
Yes.
Right. Is that where we wanted to get to tonight, folks? Elena, you got any last thoughts?
A little quote that I saw somewhere today was saying, if spirit's trying to find you, put a candle in its path.
Oh.
Well, that's going to lead to one of my announcements tonight that I may just jump ahead and do right now.
Good timing.
If you don't mind.
That's good timing. Thank you.
I'm the man of segues. I can ease myself into anything. I'm going to tell you all of the announcements in a minute of what's coming up here at the center for us to enjoy. But I want to know from our group of folks here, speaking to what Elena just said about the light and showing the way, did you know that there's going to be an astronomical event on our solstice this year that only happens every 800 years? And Judith Roberts, I'd like to take a couple of seconds and point this in your direction, because you're going to be hosting our solstice. I'm kind of doing the announcements now in a way. But did you know that on Monday, December 21st, which is the solstice night, right after sunset, if we look to the southwest sky and see what some astronomers call the Christmas star, because of the belief that the Star of Bethlehem may have been a planetary conjunction. And a planetary conjunction is when two planets get really close together and share their light, and it becomes a big light in the sky. And our conjunction is Jupiter and Saturn, and it was another two planets during the Christ child's time. But the same light that comes almost every 794 years is the same light that the wise men saw that led them to the Christ child. And we're in this pandemic and in this political structure and in all this, as we said in our pre-rehearsal meeting, chaos time that we seem to be living through. We're really living in an age of opportunity where we're all going to be alive to see this thing on the 21st, the same thing the wise men saw, the same that showed them the way to the Christ. And that's what we celebrate through our lighting, to what Ellen, you know, it shows us the way. to whatever that wonderfulness and awesome and beauty and joy that we call. Some call it the Christ within.
Special time, special time. Oh my
Special time.
God.
So mark your calendar for Monday, the solstice night on December 21st, and look in the southwest sky. And I encourage you to look it up on Google or Bing or whatever you use as your choice, because we all have choice according to Teresa. We all have different avenues and paths to search the internet. Look up the Star of Bethlehem that's going to show up this year. It's fantastic information. I'm excited about knowing that I live in a time where I'll see the same light. How fascinating. This Sunday, Peter, are you ready to roll with the PowerPoints, baby? I'm all off track. We'll try to get back on track. Here we go.
I'm ready.
All right, baby. Thank you. This Sunday, December 20th, Reverend D. Jacqueline Edwards will be speaking on cultivating light. See, it's all connected. Meditation is at 10 and service is at 10:30. And then the following Wednesday, Judith Roberts, who's here with us tonight, will be continuing our theme of celebrating divine truth with a winter solstice service next Wednesday. Meditation at 6:30 and the services at 7. Our holiday season is upon us, and what a season it is. This is just a breakdown, starting with the solstice Wednesday night, and then candle lighting, world peace, and a vision board party, where we're going to talk a little bit more in detail of what all of those are. Of course, Judith is next Wednesday night for our solstice service. Then the Christmas Eve candle lighting service is on the evening of Thursday, December 24th at 7 p.m. Now, we're asking you to, when you join us in Zoom through the website, there's a special link to that, to bring your own candle. Because this year we're not meeting in the I almost said cemetery, in the sanctuary. That's another holiday, but we're not meeting in the sanctuary. So where we would give you a candle. So in the next slide, Reverend Sally is demonstrating how we're going to light our own candles in Zoom. Bring a votive candle representing the God candle that we light, all those candles from one flame, from the God candle, and you will light your own candle in the presence, in the gallery view on Zoom on Thursday, December 24th at 7. And we have a wonderful program planned for you. Again, there is a special link. Watch the Village News, and it's on our homepage, special link for candle lighting service. There's also another special link for Thursday, December 31st at 4 a.m., where we're going to join with the Mile High Church, the CSL, main CSL's people the world over will be joining for the peace meditation. And that link is on our website, and it's at 4 a.m. Pacific time, okay, on Thursday, December 31st, New Year's Eve day morning, okay, because 4 a.m. here is New Year's Eve somewhere else in the world in the turn of the thing. Normally we hold this independently in our social hall, but this year we're going to join the masses. There's safety in numbers, you might say, and magnitude in numbers as well. So we'll be joining that through there. Then to round out our year, we're going to start with a vision board. We've done this every year in the social hall, but this year it's going to be digital, and you need to register for it. I know a lot of us have done it. It's one of our biggest social and fundraising events of the year. Deborah Jackson is leading that, and she'll be working with Reverend Sally and practitioner Bathsheba Harambe from East Bay, and they'll lead you into creating your vision board for 2021. And talk about the logistics of doing this vision board from your own home. Vision board kits will be available after you register. And because this is virtual, make it a family affair. Then that starts on January 9th, where they talk out all the logistics. And then you get to work on them and pick up your kit at the center. And you'll get an email after you register about where to pick up your kit. And then everybody will reconvene on January 30th to show and share their visual presentation from their vision board for 2021. This is a fun and fundraiser for the Oakland Center, and no one will be turned away. The suggested love offering is $50 per person or more, because Deborah has that on her vision board for 2021 or more. So you're encouraged to bring a friend. This has always been a delightful event for everybody to set the tone for the new year. We're just going to do it digitally, and I think we're going to make that work. Finally, remember to sign up for the Sacred Circle series for Black, Indigenous, and people of color. This series is being offered by our home office and offers an opportunity to explore the impact of racialized trauma. Sign up for information will be in the Village News, and it will also be on our website. We heard you. We've now set up text to give. This is from those smart people and with smartphones and smart TVs and Zoom. Okay, they say you can text to give. You don't even need to go to the website. Just dial our text to give number 510-327-3431 and follow the prompts, and your donation is secure at the Oakland Center. For those that are joining us tonight, I want to let you know, if you're not getting the Village News, you can do so. Everything is at the website. The way you got here tonight, everything's at the website. You can sign up for the Village News on the lower left-hand side of the page at the very bottom. Type in your email address and submit it, and you'll get our weekly newsletter on what's happening, and it has all the connection information. Also on our website, you can see our YouTube channel where this service and our Sunday services and special videos are from Reverend Jeff, as well as there's a link to the Village Facebook group to further connect with villagers. So everything is centralized while we're sheltered in grace through our website. That's my announcements for tonight. I also want to thank Peggy, Alice, Peter, Sam, and that's us, and me. That's us, the little Zoom team behind the scenes tonight. We can't do anything without the Zoom team. With that in mind, also, I want to remember that the center is open to receive your offering. And so we're going to take a minute and hold our offering close to our heart and read our offering affirmation, whatever that may be, time, treasure, or talent. Joyously I give with an attitude of abundance, knowing that as I give, I do receive. So thank you for your donations. Donations, like we said, can be through the text, or you can go to our homepage where everything else is and press the donate button for a safe and secure way to donate. And you can also send a check the old-fashioned way. It all works to the highest good. Okay, so we thank you for your donation. And Teresa, as we close out in prayer tonight, I believe you have a special guest to do that for us tonight. So I'll turn that over to you.
Well, yes. Well, we've already met Julia Robles Scott. Julia is from the Sierra Center for Spiritual Living. She just finished her ministerial classes and is getting ready to take her capstones and become a full-on minister. And she's one of my dear, dear friends. And she's going to do our closing prayer tonight. So, Julia, thank you so much, Julia.
Absolutely. Thank you, Teresa. So I just invite us to go within right here, right now. And with Thanksgiving in my heart, I am so grateful for this beautiful message, this wonderful reminder about the creative process and how it works. And I am so grateful to know that the truth is that there is only one mind, and that we can consciously choose to think into that one mind. And so I declare right here tonight that we do say yes to that conscious choice, that we open ourselves up to be the vessel for the inspiration of spirit to flow in, through, and as us, out picturing as a life filled with creativity, love, abundance, beauty, peace, prosperity, And we say yes to our own spiritual evolution, knowing that as I say yes, it uplifts the whole. And so there's this beautiful experience of spirit moving in through and as us. And we are evolving together, walking each other home as we create a revolution of love, a revolution of love that touches not only our neighbors and our family members, but it ripples out in this beautiful wave of experience throughout the whole population of our planet, for all the people, all the animals, all the plants, that there is this beautiful outpouring of the love that God is coming from within us and flowing outward. And so I just give thanks for knowing that our sacred yes is making a difference to everyone and everything on this planet as we move forward in co-creating this beautiful world that works for everyone. And I just give thanks for this wonderful teaching that has transformed our lives and that continues to transform us as we continue on this path, like I said, walking each other home back to God, for that is what we are. And so I release this word, knowing this as our truth, knowing that we are always connected. And so as we say goodbye, I know that we are always together. We're all in this together, for there's only one of us. And so I just say, thank you, God. I let it go. And together we say, and so it is.
So it is.